What's up, guys? Daddy Buzzkill here.
Brightest Robot here. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the coronavirus and the influence that it's having on the video game industry. We're going to be talking about the GDC and its postponement, and we're going to be going over the speculation of E3 also being canceled. Buzzkill, are you going to E3?
At least I have a mask.
We are going to get to the E3 part of this video, but first we're going to go over the events regarding GDC that we believe led up to the speculation around the E3 cancellation. The main contributing factors of the GDC postponement were these large companies who withdrew their attendance. You had Blizzard, Microsoft, Amazon, Epic Games. You had Sony, who was en route to unveil their new PS5.
All these big companies had concerns about the coronavirus going into it. The organizer said in a statement, after close consultation with our partners in the game development industry and community around the world, we've made the difficult decision to postpone the Game Developers Conference this March. So the GDC didn't actually provide a date for when they would be back, just that it would be back sometime this summer.
This is going to be solely reliant on the virus itself and its path, and if it spreads or if it gets contained. So if this wraps up, they could actually have it whenever. They'll make an announcement and they'll let everybody know.
So as you can see here, this is the official GDC update where they pretty much say that they're postponing the conference.
Yep. This is actually a tweet from Microsoft where they actually declared that they were not coming because of an abundance of caution. They're just basically saying that the coronavirus could be spread and they don't want to take that chance.
Okay, so after going through a couple tweets on Twitter, we find this one from Andy Touch. Andy says, if GDC 2020 is canceled because of the coronavirus, perhaps all the speakers can stay at home, record their presentations, and upload them online for free. Which I think this is a really great idea. As Andy says here, it would reduce the carbon footprint and be much more useful. But at the same time, we see that the gaming community is really brought together by the social aspect of everything. 10 years ago, everything was single player. Now we have multiplayer games. It's all about that social aspect and having people come together and just as gamers and get together and talk about this stuff and see these presentations on huge screens. It's an experience that you can't really get anywhere else. You know what I mean? It's a really important part of the gaming experience and the gaming community. And as much as I would love to reduce the carbon footprint, I think it's still really important to have these conferences.
All right, just briefly, if you're not familiar with what the coronavirus is, this is a flu-like virus. It's not as deadly. Actually, the flu is a little more deadly. This one just moves a little bit faster. There's almost 3,000 confirmed deaths. This did originate in mainland China. Basically, the United States is declaring some transportation and some travel restrictions. We're trying to maintain this and basically keep it from spreading. That's just some brief information on the coronavirus. If you want to look more on that, you can Google it, find it anywhere. But now we're going to move on to the E3 segment and get into the guts of the stuff.
So with the GDC, Sony was one of the first to pull out before all these big major companies pulled out. And the same thing with E3. Sony here has also pulled out of E3 with the PlayStation 5 scheduled to launch this holiday. This is kind of a big E3 for them. This is like one of the biggest ones before they release a console. I mean, this is like really, really big for them. And for them to pull out over this, it kind of sets the stage as a serious problem that they're really worried about. Okay, so staying on this Business Insider article here, we scroll down here and we see a tweet from Jason. He says, E3 is the worst shape it's ever been. Last year it was half empty, and that was before they doxed thousands of attending journalists. So it's not necessarily true that Sony withdrew because of the coronavirus. It could also be that, Sony's just kind of stepping away from E3. Like Jason says here, he'd expect them to announce their own big PS5 event instead, and that would actually make more sense for them.
And this could be a marketing thing. They could be building anticipation for their PS5. I mean, if they're ready to present something, everybody's ready, they're going to maybe make an excuse and pull out because then you're going to be looking for these answers. So they're building that anticipation. Makes more sales.
Smart. So more on what we were just talking about. Actually, if you read Sony's full statement here, it says, thorough evaluation has decided not to participate in E3. We have great respect for the ESA and as an organization, but we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we were focused on this year. So this could actually have nothing really to do with the coronavirus at all. But that's not to say that the coronavirus isn't necessarily an attributing factor for why E3 could potentially be canceled. There's a couple more people who have already dropped out as well.
Man, I see this as I don't even know what this means because Sony's basically saying everything that is video games that E3 stands for. They're not necessarily saying they don't want to be a part of it, but they don't think that the venue or the setup is right for them. So what does that mean? That they're saying the way E3 is presenting the gaming community, is that not right for Sony at this point?
That seems to be what they're saying here. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it seems like to me. Sony's possibly just stepping away from E3. I mean, I've heard rumors of E3 just kind of losing its magic and losing its pizzazz. And, you know, you have a lot of these other big companies who are looking to have their own conferences. And it sucks, but, you know, that's just the video game industry. And moving forward, you expect to see these kinds of, things happening.
All right, speaking of big names stepping down from E3, you got industry vet Jeff Keighley. He's skipping it for the first time in 25 years. He says he looks forward to supporting the community in other ways. If we pitter-patter down here, you're going to see that maybe his interest lies in his own, because he's saying he's looking forward to his own game award. So we don't know what that's going to become. I mean, some of this could be contributing from the coronavirus. We're not really sure. Maybe it's just E3 losing momentum as a whole. Comment down below and let us know what you think, if this is more driven by the coronavirus and or if E3 is dying.
Could be the death of E3. Okay, so now we're going to look at how the community is reacting to all these big companies pulling out. Here we have Mad Z. He's reacting to Microsoft pulling out of GDC. He says, at this rate, E3 is going to be canceled. So we definitely have a bunch of people thinking E3 is next on the chopping block. Sony pulling out definitely didn't help. Jeff Keighley pulling out also really didn't help. Whether or not that's related to the coronavirus, can't really be said, but it's definitely freaking people out for sure.
Yep. You got people here asking, does the GDC take place in China or something? So people are so afraid that they're asking where it's at because they don't even want to be involved with it or go to it. This guy's just saying that would be unfortunate. And if we scroll down here, he's even asking, this is starting to involve PAX, man. So he's asking if PAX takes place in China. This is going to hurt a lot of conventions and everything. So we can see something slow down in the gaming industry. Because, I mean, if you think about it, Sony was going to unveil a new freaking console. This is a next-gen product. So basically, they halted that and they stopped that. Whether it's a marketing thing or not, but they stopped it. So this postponed the debut of a new console. So we literally took the gaming community back maybe a freaking year, man.
Potentially, definitely. So speaking on what Buzzkill was just talking about, here we have a tweet from Bloomberg that says the Tokyo Olympic Games could be canceled this summer because of the coronavirus. And we have Salty Helion here who says, if the Olympics get canceled due to the coronavirus, I bet that the Euro 2020, E3, and if it's still bad, Pax West and TwitchCon would be canceled too. So there's a lot of fear going around. People are thinking all these things are going to be canceled.
You know what this means, though? My graphics card's going to hold up an extra 2 years. Yeah!
Yeah!
All right, another one from the community. I mean, if anything, gaming's got to rely on their community, man. Dan Stapleton says GD's postponed. We already know that. Realistically, you don't see how they can reschedule this year. We don't really either. I mean, you got this big event. You got expos. You got speakers. You got all this stuff you got to line out and get there. Man, if this coronavirus keeps going, he's predicting E3, which we've seen, GameCon at this point. So now we're grouping in another expo. We're bringing the gaming community down again. I know this is supposed to be about E3, but this is like blowing out to everywhere, man. So basically everyone's pointing fingers that E3 will be canceled. Okay, so now we got Alex. What's up, Alex? Alex saying that they're canceling things all across Europe. We know Europe's getting hit hard by this, but I mean, taking a step back from gaming, we're going to see hits from everything on this. But he's once again talking about Gamescom, and then basically people are asking about Pax West. Where is it at? And basically people are once again in fear. There's so much fear about this coronavirus, and it's just shutting things down.
The sheer uncertainty of it is like really what's freaking people out. Especially to see these big conferences that normally go on regardless of anything going on culturally, wise. They're shutting down and people are just really freaking out. Okay, so here we have the official E3 Twitter account. As you can see here, there's no real mention of a postponement or cancellation or anything like that. Just business as normal. And then you go over here to a pushsquare.com site. E3 2020 planning not currently affected by coronavirus. And so that looks like it's based on Patrick Klepek, who reached out to somebody at E3 and got the response that everything is just business as normal.
But I mean, with all this data that we've talked about throughout this presentation here, basically, I don't know how they can say that nothing's wrong. So leave us your opinion if you think E3 is going to be canceled or not. There's a lot of information saying it is, but there's a lot of information saying it's not. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy this. If you can, leave us a like. I mean, it helps us a lot. Damn. What in the back door of Jesus' bungalow is this, man? This is beautiful, man. You guys should subscribe to these guys. These guys look cool.
This is a good looking channel, man. This is legit.